This is the Debate Me channel, and we are live. Let me know if the sound is good. We're about to get started. Mike Jones! All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So we got to talk about this disaster that we have happening in this country regarding our independent left-wing media. That's an absolute clown show. The same people who love to tell us about how mainstream media is so bad, but let's talk about them, right? So we're here to talk about something that should honestly shake you. Not because it's shocking, though it is, but because it reveals just how deep the rot goes. 1 second. Okay. So, I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm not even talking about corporate Democrats. I'm talking about independent media on the left. Yeah. The ones who claim to fight for you. The ones who yell the loudest about how bad things are. But when it really matters, they're quiet. Let's rewind to Build Back Better. That bill was a turning point. The Democrats staged this fake negotiation, this whole theater that they were doing with Joe Manchin as the bad guy, when in reality, he already told them from the beginning. He sent them a letter saying exactly how much he was willing to support in terms of money, what his bottom line was. And yet they were online, all these Democrats online talking about, oh, we don't know what Joe Manchin wants and he's not telling us. And we know that they were in on it because Joe Manchin could have called them out. He could have said, hey, what are you guys talking about? I sent them a letter. I told them exactly what I wanted. I did this months ago. But Joe Manchin didn't call them out. He just sat there and, we want on a common sense, whatever. And the Democrats sitting there negotiating $6 trillion, whatever. And then right-wing media doing what they do, lying. Right? Now, the reality is that while this was happening, left-wing media was doing what? Laughing at Trump supporters. Breaking news, Brian Tyler Cohen. Breaking news, Trump said something dumb again, right? They were everywhere except where it matters. We had maybe 30 people that went out and protested to fight for Build Back Better. All these real leftists, like Revolutionary Backout Network, nowhere to be seen. Sabby Sabs, nowhere to be seen. Jimmy Dore, nowhere to be seen. These guys showed up for their Medicare for all got their pictures taken or whatever. But now, one of the biggest bills that had so many things that supposedly left-wing is concerned about, when that bill was on the line, a major turning point where I said, if this bill doesn't pass, you guys are going to lose the midterms and Trump's going to win the next election. And here we are. They lost the midterms and Trump won the next election. Exactly as I said what happened. But was there a big movement in our left-wing media saying, you guys have to fight. You got to be in the streets. You've got to let the Democrats know that they need to deliver. Stop playing games. Joe Biden did good things. We're not saying he didn't do anything, right? But the problem is he did not do nearly enough. It's not about doing historic, like, oh, you did way more than any other president in 20 years. That does not matter if the American people need a lot more than that. If you have been starving for a month, all you have every day is a glass of water and a piece of bread, and you are barely alive at this point. And then somebody comes and they offer you twice the amount of food as you ever had before, a historic amount of bread. You have 2 slices of bread and 2 glasses of water. Someone is on their deathbed nearly, starving. And you are focused on, comparatively speaking, this is much more than before. Yes, it is good. Someone needs food. It's good that they have more food than they had before. But if the person is on their deathbed, that's probably not going to be enough and they're probably going to die. Did some people mention this Build Back Better thing? I'm sure. Maybe a line here or there, a tweet, a passing reference. But where were the full videos breaking it down, exposing the game that the Democrats were playing? How many people reported on the fact that Joe Manchin from the beginning sent a letter showing what his demands were? Where were the calls to action? Where was the pressure campaign? They didn't push it, not hard. And that silence, it sent a message. It told the politicians, you can get away with this. The politicians, Democrats or Republicans, will only do as much as they feel they need to. If you are not in their faces with a thunderous roar, demanding more, then you're not going to get much. These politicians, regardless of party, they're looking on Twitter, they're looking and seeing what's happening, right? If I am in a district and I won the last election by 2,000 votes, 2,000 people voted for me, and I see 30 people protesting what I'm doing, if I'm a typical politician, I don't care. I don't care. I'll stay in my house. I will fly somewhere else. I will ignore you. But if I won by 2,000 votes that last election and I see 10,000 people in the streets demanding more, then and only then would the typical politician pay attention. So 30 people protesting Build Back Better was grossly inadequate. But the mainstream media, they failed us. But the independent media that loves every day, oh, mainstream media this and mainstream media that. Stop fucking talking about mainstream media. Talk about yourselves. You guys are failing. You guys are a big part of why Trump is in office right now. You're sitting there profiting from the demise of this country. You guys, your business is doing, I think this is a constitutional crime. Oh, that's a constitutional. No. Now the constitutional crime. That's all you care about. Now, flash forward, we're in another historic moment. Massive protests erupting. People are finally rising up yet again. These creators, many with over 1 million subscribers, full-time teams, and plenty of resources, are ghosting the movement. No live streams, no boots on the ground, no videos promoting where to go, what's happening, or why it matters. Because they don't give a fuck. You got over 1 million subscribers, you got money. You're not worried about healthcare, rent, mortgage. You're not worried about eggs, gas prices. You're not worried about any of this stuff. If this country burns, you guys can fly to another country and live stream the burning of this country from another country. You're not in it with us. So stop with the fucking talk about mainstream media. Stop deflecting. Focus on your own work. Focus on what you're doing and how you're failing this country. This is a critical moment, so says you. This is a critical moment, so says you, David Pakman, TYT, Brian Tyler Cohen, Adam Mockler, Luke Beasley, Kyle Kalinske, Breaking Points. This is a critical moment, so you claim. So where the fuck are you guys? I know where you guys are. You guys are going to pop up maybe tomorrow, maybe on Monday. You're going to steal people's videos and you're going to post them up so you can get some clicks too. Oh, Trump's worst nightmare. But did you post a video dedicated to the event saying this is what's happening? Did you invite the organizers on your channels? Come on our channel, tell us about your event. What's happening? How can people participate? These events are in all 50 states. These content creators with millions of subscribers would fly across the country to a Trump rally. They would fly across the country to a Trump rally. Oh, look how dumb these MAGA people are. They're so dumb. Oh, MAGA, I'm going to debate MAGA. Look what MAGA's doing. Oh, these guys, it's like a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. It's a cult. And in this moment, in this historic moment, when the stakes are so high, the largest movements you've seen. And where are you guys? Nowhere to be found. You guys are on the beach hanging out, watching TV, playing video games, watching your Twitter feed, see what's trending that you can post. No boots on the ground, no videos promoting where to go or what's happening. But don't worry, they'll find time to drop a video titled Trump's Meltdown Caught on Tape and rake in the views. Anything for views. This parasitic influencer class is part of the fuel that is burning this country. I'm not saying they don't serve any value. I'm not saying that there's not good things that they've done. They've done a lot of good work. And many of the names that I've pointed out did a lot of good work. But what I'm pointing out is that they're unserious. They're not with us. I am directly affected by what's happening in the government. I right now don't have health care. I don't have health care. Every single one of these creators, they have health care. They can afford it. Right? I am not even in a good living situation. Right? Meanwhile, they're moving into bigger and better places. We're the ones who are exposed. Their audience, we are the ones who will suffer the consequences of what the government is doing right now. So that is why Brian Tyler Cohen, David Pakman, Luke Beasley, Adam Mockler, that's why they don't have the same sense of urgency. Because the worse things get, the more money they make. Let's be clear, this is not about mainstream versus independent. That's a distraction. It's about for-profit media. And profit doesn't care about democracy. It cares about the algorithm. And as long as that brings in more views than fighting for real change, they're going to do whatever gets them the views. Right? Whatever gets the views. They're getting views from the Trump videos. That's what they're going to keep doing. Because I guarantee you, covering these protests live is not going to get them as much views as if they cover the Trump rally, right? Oh, I've seen, how many videos I've seen of Brian Tyler Cohen. These are the same people who talk about mainstream media, how they kept giving Trump so much coverage, right? They would cover empty podiums. How many of these independent left-wing media people have told you how mainstream media, CNN and others, and this is true, they were right. CNN was literally offering Trump a show. Like, Trump is their friend, right? Behind the scenes, they were friendly. But what is independent media doing? Left-wing media, same thing. Brian Tyler Cohen, so many times, he is there live before Trump rally even starts, right? The rally hasn't even started yet, and he is using his massive platform to broadcast to his audience, oh, look at Trump, look at the crazy things Trump is saying, look at da-da-da-da. But in this moment, where it really matters, where is Brian Tyler Cohen? We, the people, have the most power. We have the most power, right? If 100 million of us rise up in the streets, not hashtags online, right? Online on Twitter, actually hitting the streets with thunder, a thunderous roar, all of us, it's over. We are the sleeping giant. It's time to wake up. And it's time to demand more. I keep mentioning how in our very own Puerto Rico, they had a lot of corruption in their government. And they took to the streets, I think it was in the hundreds of thousands. Which for Puerto Rico, that's a lot of people. I think that might even be a third of the population. Don't quote me on that. They quickly got their leaders to step down. Now, although we had large numbers in the last protest, it was nowhere close to the numbers in Puerto Rico in terms of percentage. If we hit those kinds of numbers, you're talking about 100 million people in the streets. I don't care how much money you have, Elon Musk, Donald Trump. There's no amount of money that can do anything against 100 million people in the streets. We need all hands on deck. So the fact that you have independent left-wing media not giving all of their effort, using their platform to the max to promote and let people know this is what you can do. But instead what you hear, Young Turks telling you, oh, we don't have any democracy. Good to see you, Mike Jones. Young Turks tell us we don't have a democracy, right? A lot of these YouTubers, they'll say our democracy is 100% functioning right now. We've been lied to. We've been lied to. Taught that our votes don't matter. But here is the actual truth. All these politicians care about is money and power. I'm going to say it again. All these politicians care about is money and power. Where does the money and power come from? It comes from we, the people. Without our votes, they can't continue to get access to power and the wealth. They need our votes. Now, some folks will challenge some of what I'm saying, and they will say, look at the movement that fought for the Palestinians. Right, that's a perfect example, right? Of large numbers of people saying, we're not going to vote for you unless you serve, our needs, right? We are saying we don't want to be giving these weapons. We don't want to be involved in a genocide, right? And unless you pull back from this, unless you fight to stop this, we're not going to vote for you. That sounds like exactly what I am describing. And it is somewhat, but it is far off the mark. There are two problems with that. First of all, for some reason, we are Israel's bitch. Excuse my language. That is some unique third rail. It's a weird bipartisan thing. So to me, on that one issue, the requirement in terms of the numbers is even higher, right? So if it takes 100 million in the streets to really stop a lot of what's happening right now in this country, then to stop the war in Gaza, you might need like 150 million or 200 million or something like that. So that's one part of the problem. The other part of the problem is just in general, again, back to the numbers. The numbers of people that were saying, the uncommitted people or whatever, the numbers were not high enough to get the Democrats sufficiently afraid. I think the numbers were concerning for sure. I don't doubt that behind the scenes they were they were getting a little bit nervous about, what's going to happen, with these people not showing up. But the numbers, I don't think were enough, because this is what you have to understand. If one person is protesting, it's meaningless, easy to ignore. 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, 100 people, same thing. 2,000 people protesting, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, what's going on over here? And you start getting into the tens of thousands, right? The higher the number gets, the more pressure you put on the government, the closer you get to that breaking point where they have to listen, right? If you don't hit those numbers, then it will seem like you don't have any power. But it's not that you don't have any power. Remember, all they care about is money and power, and that comes from us via votes. So if your protest movement does not translate very clearly to an absolute disaster electorally, if that's not the message they're getting, then you're not going to get the results you're looking for. And additionally, you can't just be in the streets yelling and screaming stuff, right? No justice, no peace, stop Elon Musk or whatever. That, like, you've got to have some meaning to the punches that you're throwing, right? Like, what does that mean? Like, oh, stop Elon Musk. So what if I don't stop Elon Musk? What if Elon Musk continues to do what he's doing? Then what? What you going to do about it? Right? As a crooked politician, that's my calculation. You're telling me stop Elon Musk, but what's the threat? There's no threat. If there's no threat, then why should I care? Again, I mean, I would never be in I would never be in politics because I'm be fighting with everybody. But if I was, I would have integrity. Right? So I would do the right thing because the right thing is the right thing to do. Right? But I'm not the typical politician, right? Typical politicians, that's not how they think. They're thinking about themselves, right? So if they're listening to the protest and they're not getting a message that, listen, I need to listen to these people, otherwise I'm in trouble. There's two ways to do that. In the numbers. If the numbers get so overwhelmingly high, I mean, when you have 100 million people in the streets, that is major, major red alert to politicians. I know to you, the regular people, you're already seeing red alert right now, right? What's happening right now in the country, this is a major crisis, whatever. But it's not for the politicians, right? They're good, right? They are good right now. They're getting the same money. You see all those Doge cuts? They're not cutting the Congress salaries, right? They're not cutting senator salaries. They're not cutting progressive salaries. I mean, representative salaries, right? They want to fire poor veterans and poor bureaucrats randomly, regardless of whatever performance. They're not hitting the people in Congress. So what's their incentive to listen to anything you guys are saying, right? If 100 million are in the streets, that's a very clear message. If people are, first of all, look at what's happening right now. And even with all this stuff, look at the relatively low numbers that we have coming out. If in this moment, that's the only amount, like what it might be at most, 1 million or a couple million. If that's the most out of a 350 million country, or whatever the population is now, if that's the most people that are coming out in this moment, what message do you think it sends if we hit anywhere near 100 million? Right? I mean, if everything we're seeing right now happening and just a few million coming out. So to me, if I'm a politician who don't care about nothing else but myself and I see 100 million, I mean, that to me is like, holy moly. Okay, we got to figure something out. And I'm not saying nothing happens until you get to that number, but you need to get somewhere near that kind of number. Again, this is not just me talking my ass. Look what happened in Puerto Rico. Hundreds of thousands, so relative to their population, a much larger amount than we have ever seen in the last 10 years. So they had a much higher percentage come out in the streets, a thunderous roar, and they had multiple leaders step down. And every time I tell the story, people are just like, like, you're seeing the model right there. Puerto Rico is part of America. These are our citizens who rose up in a large amount of people. I mean, massive crowds. Like, you know, Brian Tyler Cohen and Dave Pacman, they talk about how a lot of people coming out to these protests, and yeah, they are, but nothing compared to what happened in Puerto Rico. So you think that maybe the reason why they came out to the streets and they got quick results, right? And we come out to the streets and it seems like, what's the result? People are like, is this really helping at all? What do you think the difference is? What you think the amount of people matters? And who has the ability to influence the amount of people that come out on the streets? Left-wing media. These people collectively represent audiences in what, 15 million? David Pacman, Young Turks, Brian Tyler, I mean more than that, probably 30, 40 million. You guys collectively represent 30 million people. If they were to get all of their, and this wouldn't happen, but if they were to get all their subscribers to come, we would be almost halfway to a tipping point where they can't ignore us anymore. But there's a lack of urgency because I told you once again, the worse things get, the better it is for independent left-wing media. It's more content. Our lives are just content. The crazier thing that Trump does, great, this is good video. Breaking, Trump this, breaking, Trump that, breaking, Trump this. Trump did a crazy rally. Right? These content creators are not worried about healthcare, not worried about paying their mortgage, paying their rent. They're buying new cars, they're buying bigger houses. They're making investments, they're buying a dip right now, I'm sure. Again, this is not just to crap on them and say they serve no value. They definitely serve a value. This is to say that we need to demand more. We need to demand more from left-wing independent media. We need to demand more from mainstream media. We need to demand more from the Democrats. We need to demand more from the Republicans. Don't let them focus your attention just on, the Republicans, Trump. We need to hold everyone accountable. We need to demand more from our media. Now, let me take a look right now. So today was another major event. And what kind of coverage did we get? Right? So I look at my feed. Look at who is covering this. This is how bad things have gotten. This is such a shame. This is such a shame. CNBC is covering Bernie Sanders and AOC. CNBC is covering Bernie Sanders live. Where's David Pacman? Where's Brian Tyler Cohen? Where is Luke Beasley? Where's Adam Mockler? You mean CNBC? Like, remember, that's the enemy. Oh, mainstream media. It's not about mainstream media. It's about for-profit media. Mainstream media is not the devil. And in this moment, I mean, this is not a normal thing. This is a rare thing. In this moment, they're doing a better job than any of these guys in independent media. So let me take a look. So look, and they're not like they not doing nothing. Look, Luke Beasley posted a video. We're gonna take a look at their channels. Luke Beasley, you see their videos that got posted, right? Right-wing media smearing the Garcia people. So let's go through. So we're gonna take a look at some of my subscriptions and let's see what's going on. So I see some people that are live right now. So the Young Turks are live. So are they at an event? Looks like they're live. Let's see. So they got 31 people watching. Oh my goodness. "31 people watching." We'll let that play out so we can see what it is that they're doing. But the fact that there isn't a live stream titled reference to the event, not a good sign. Destiny. He's big chilling. That's what he's doing. ABC News. So they're just doing their generic thing. So they might have done some coverage, but they didn't do any dedicated coverage. Oh, Ricky Manor is not left wing. He's talking about the FSU shooting, of course. Let's see what else we got. PBS. Did PBS cover it? Okay. See, and again, there is the beauty, right? PBS. I don't know the full like how their model works, but mine is public broadcasting, right? So I think it's through donations. So the fact that only 2,000 people are watching doesn't matter to them. But does David Pakman want to invest time in covering an event that is not going to get a lot of views necessarily? Right? What's the for-profit thing to do? If they're just content creators, influencer class, if they're just for-profit media, then you want to cover the Trump events, not these events, right? Because the Trump events will make you more money. A lot of liberals want to see, oh, Trump said something crazy, right? But PBS, because they're not for-profit, and again, that's what you need to focus on. The problem is the for-profit media is not independent media or versus mainstream media. Young Turks, we already went through them. Adam Mockler, so he's not live. We're going to look at his channel to see what videos he's posted recently. So 6 hours ago, he screwed up. You screwed up. Oh, shit hit the fan. Deadly tragedy. What is that? Elon snaps. I don't know what this is about. Breaking, whatever. Majority Report. Are they covering it? Did they promote it? Did they post a video specifically talking about the event and telling people they should go out? 10 minutes ago, AOC deserve whatever. This is an interview thing. Trump ends fascism, so another interview. Trad wife thing. Whatever. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Majority Report doesn't care, apparently. Oh, it's an existential threat and democracy is at risk and blah, 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 blah. Nowhere to be found. Let's see if CNN covered anything. CNN hasn't even posted a single video today. So mainstream media and independent media, nowhere to be found. Except for CNBC, they're covering it. And the Post, by the way. That's how bad things are, man. You got the New York Post doing more coverage of protests against Trump than left-wing media. Wow. So here's Midas Touch. I met some people at the protest today that were Midas fans. So Trump tantrum. Cabinet is scared. Michigan is pissed, gives our vote back. I'm not sure what that is. So I don't see them doing coverage. But they did do a video at least 8 hours ago saying mass protests are back. And now this is a very, very partisan network, right? This is absolutely a propaganda network, to be clear. I mean, pretty much, I don't think we have any media in this country that's not propaganda at this point, with very rare exceptions. However, Midas Touch is particularly propagandistic, right? Without a doubt. But even them, they didn't cover it live. And did they do a video? Did they do a video talking about like where to go and talking about how important it is? Like, are they informing the audience and saying, hey guys, this is how we fight back or whatever, and this is what you need to do? Or are they reactionary and just saying, yeah, this is what's happening and Trump is scared and just clapping like this is good, this is what I like to see, right? Is that the way that they're doing it? Or are they actively telling people like, listen, this is like, if you don't like what's happening in this country, this is what you need to do. Go to this website. These events are happening. Tell your family, tell your friends. Luke Beasley. Is he covering the protests? This happened. Trump aides rival into office. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing. Pondering politics. Is he covering the rallies? Is he at one right now, live? Apparently not. 4 hours ago, Bill Maher something, Fox News something, shocking leak. Got the arrows and the circles. We see what Pondering Politics is focused on. David Pakman, the guy who can go on vacation, travel around the world, and yet still do videos. He can find people. I don't know if he even pays them. Find people to run his channel. But apparently he can't find somebody to cover the protests. Notice the only protest he's mentioned in the last 3 videos is a protest, a MAGA protest. He doesn't even show any video. He just uses the picture in the thumbnail. He doesn't show any of the video, right? But the only video about protest that this guy has done is talking about a MAGA protest. This is the guy who covered so many Trump rallies live. And in this moment in time, existential crisis and our democracy is falling apart. Blah, 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 blah. What is he? Where is he? Where's David Pakman right now? What is he doing? He's a political commentator. This is a massive moment in time right now in politics. And that's not my words. That's what he would say, right? But where is he? Like all this stuff, oh, blah, Trump, this, Trump. The most important thing is what are we going to do about it? How are we putting a stop to what's happening? How are we protecting our democracy? That's the most important thing, as opposed to just sitting back there, oh, this happened and that happened. Trump said this and Trump said that, and oh, look at this Trump rally. The biggest thing is the response from the people. The biggest thing is to elevate the voices of the people. That is how democracy works. As they were saying today, this is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. Well, this is not what democracy looks like. A bunch of for-profit content creators that are only focused on their views. Pisco's Hour, not a single video today. Who else? Kim Iverson, she's a real, that's a Cavernacle. I mean, he's a foreigner, but whatever. Cavernacle, anything? Oh, Kim Iverson, she's a real journalist. Is she at these protests? Is she covering the protests? Rise of new Nazi free speech, formal intel. Apparently, she doesn't care. The Bulwark. Are they covering the events? Are they there? Gen Z, Musk mayhem, Trump killed travel. Where's the videos talking about the protests, telling people you should go? Where is it? Who else we got? Tim Black TV, a real leftist. Not even a video critiquing the protests. Oh, these protests are fake, and it's a bunch of liberals and normies, and they don't know. And MSNBC, and literally there was a bunch of MSNBC people there. So he's not even interested to even go and critique the protests. No interest. MSNBC. A lot of people there are MSNBC fans. 2 hours ago, Trump doesn't want you to hear the protests. Okay, partisan propaganda, MSNBC, mainstream media is so bad. At least they covered somewhat the protests. They made a video. They're showing some people at the event. Right? Of course, they had to make it about Trump. Trump doesn't want you to protest. Right? They're supposed to be the bad guys. These are supposed to be the bad guys. And trust me, just to be clear, mainstream media has a lot of trash. MSNBC and CNN are the worst. But it's not about, they're not bad because they're mainstream media. They're bad because their focus is on profits. Not unlike these independent media folks. Destiny. Playing video games, whatever, doesn't care. Damage report. And they did the same thing the last event. Right? So like if you missed something happened and whatever, this is twice in a row, massive protests, and independent left-wing media nowhere to be seen. Rebel HQ, nothing. Rashad Crenshaw, sorry I gotta call you out. Even though he's from the Virgin Islands, I'm not from there, but I used to live there, so. But I am the most disloyal person on YouTube. I am not in any tribe. I'm not loyal to any tribe. I'm not anybody's ally or anybody's friend. I'm here to tell people the truth. I'm an ally of the truth. I'm an ally of America. That's my side. My side is America, right? And in this moment, we need to fight back. That's the tribe that I'm part of. Like, screw these content creators. I don't care about these people, right? I care about America. I care about the audiences, the people that have made these people wealthy. That's who I care about. I'm not worried about wealthy content creators. Sabby Sabs. Any coverage? She's a real leftist. Unlike these liberals, these shit libs. No coverage except to critique AOC on her presidential run. So, at least she, unlike some of these other folks, like I said, Tim Black, like he would be the one to critique the protests, but he didn't even do that. So at least she's doing that angle. She's like, oh, these people, whatever, and they're tricking us. But most of the left-wing folks, no coverage. Let's see. More Perfect Union. I mean, come on. More Perfect Union? Yeah. You guys didn't cover it? They didn't cover it. Who else? Rational National. Not an American citizen, but no videos for the whole day. Did AOC cover it? Did AOC cover her own event? I mean, AOC is literally, well, she's not a news media channel, and she's literally at the event. So, and also she has lots of videos posted at the event. So, I think AOC's good. Who else we got? Lincoln Project, right? They're fighting against Trump, and Trump is this, and Trump destroyed America. They got 1.4 million subscribers. Did they use their platform to help support these events? Did they post a video telling their people, like, hey, it almost seems like the point of Lincoln Project is to make money off of resistance liberals as opposed to an actual fight against Trump. Wow. Fake, fakety fake. Indisputable. Nothing. Mark Lamont Hill. Mark Lamont Hill torches white terror. So he's talking about racial stuff, Trump, whatever. So nothing from him. Glenn Greenwald. He's a real journalist. Is he going to critique the protests or promote them or ignore them? He hasn't posted in 2 days. Okay. Who else we got? I wonder if Pam Hempel, did she post something? She's the MAGA granny. Oh my goodness. The MAGA granny not only covered a protest, she went to one. This is, if you want to know why Trump is president right now, anybody that's still wondering why Trump is president right now, the second major protest fighting against what's happening in our country. And left-wing independent media almost completely non-existent. But who's there? The New York Post, live. CNBC, live. And the MAGA granny. You want to know why Trump is president? This is why Trump is president. In this moment, you have the MAGA granny, CNBC, and the New York Post doing more to cover the event of the American people fighting back than all of left-wing independent media, except for Status Quo, which, interestingly enough, I didn't even see that. They happen to be next on the list. Wow, that's perfect. I didn't set that up at all. They just literally were the next on the list. They're right under her in my subscription feed. Wow. This is like the only, and I'm going to tell you why. This is what Status Quo does. They go to small towns and they cover things like the Flint, Michigan water crisis and things like that. stuff that a lot of the media is not covering, right? They cover stuff that's not glamorous, and it hurt them for a very long time. They were not making a lot of money. They were not getting a lot of views because people want to watch David Pakman. Breaking! Trump said something crazy. Breaking! Trump did this and Trump did that, and Elon Musk is a fascist. That's what they want to see. They don't want to watch status quo, talking to some people in the Midwest about poisoned water, right? But because they do quality work and they stuck to it long enough, over time they've developed an audience, right, of people that actually do want to watch this stuff. Because even me, like, I have a very tiny audience, but there's 300 million people in this country. If everyone in this country was aware of my channel, I would easily have millions of subscribers. But that's only if every single person knew, right? Because my audience is very tiny, so I need that level of exposure to really get to like crazy millions. Because I'm a small percentage of the population, but the population is massive. So even 1%, even if only 1% of America would like my content, 1% of 350 million is a lot of people, right? So similar effect here. Even though this did not have a large market, years and years of grinding, and over time, more and more people that like this stuff discovering him, and now he's being rewarded. Now he's up to 440,000 subscribers, right? I'm sure I know they covered the last one live. I don't see the stream right now. I don't know if you see hands off protests, right? So they cover a lot of this stuff. I don't know why I'm not seeing. Oh, here we go. Yeah, there you go. They said right here 2 hours ago, 38,000 views. Now, more than likely, most of these left-wing folks who didn't cover it might not even get this amount of views. They have way more subscribers, but they might not get this much because this is not a high, like a lot of news media in this country is about entertainment, right? And this is not very entertaining. This is serious content about a very serious matter, right? People who want to see this are people who are the more serious ones who realize the crisis and they want to be involved. They want to see what's happening, right? And that's, I think, the main reason why a lot of these guys are not covering it, right? For status quo, it's what they do. It's their brand. They have to cover it. And also, they can get a decent amount of numbers because they have cultivated a group of people that are looking for the more serious content and not the, Trump said this and Trump said that. Let's see what else we got. CBS News. Why is my connection so slow? Associated Press. So they're like a news feed. See, this is part of the problem. Like, if I'm a mainstream media network, I might rely on AP to get a scoop, right? Or other news sources might rely on AP to know what's happening. But I don't see it being covered. AP is not interested in covering the protests, just like our independent left-wing media. News Nation, I guess they try to be centrist, or I don't know what they claim their ideology is. I mean, they shouldn't have an ideology as far as a channel, but this is America. Let's see who else. Democracy Docket is more like court cases and stuff. Jimmy Dore, he's a real leftist. Surely he covered the protests either to critique them or to support them. Big Pharma, animals aren't our stuff. White House goes nuclear, Iran, whatever. No interest. He already got his photos from the Medicare for All, and he's good. All right, Jimmy Dore. Clown. And that's pretty much it, man. And the thing about it is people live in their own bubbles. It's like, I point this out. I even went through the time to go through this channel and show that they're not covering it. And yet, you have people in their bubbles will argue and say, no, they're covering it. They're covering it. It's like, don't believe your lying eyes. Like, you make fun of how Trump just straight up lies to his base. And they just say nonsense. Like, oh, we won the Supreme Court by 9-0. And you're like, oh my goodness. But it's the same thing with people on the left. I demonstrate that this is not being covered. right? And people are not stupid. They know what it looks like when things are covered. When Trump was doing rallies and so many of these guys were live and they were live before the rally even started, they know what that looks like. And that's not this. But yet, they want to anecdotally mention, maybe Brian Tyler Cohen may mention something at the end of one of his videos where most people don't even watch the end of the videos. So most people aren't going to see it. Oh, Brian Tyler Cohen, he mentioned it. Right? Like Brian Tyler Cohen, David Pakman, all these guys. Right? The better things get, that is bad. If Kamala Harris had won, that would have been very, very bad. She likely would have been very boring, not a scandal every day and whatever, and barely doing enough. Like, what are they going to cover? Right? I mean, hopefully what they would get is for their sake, the Republican Party would be angry and saying that the election was stolen and whatever. So then they would cover that. But that compared to Trump winning, I mean, every day Trump did this, Trump said that, this and that. It's non-stop content. Right? And that's all they care about. Anyway, on that note, this is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well. And as I've stated before, the problem is the fact that these guys are for-profit media, right? So, they are focused on what's going to get them views, right? Like me posting this video, I am trying to wake people up. I want people to see this video, and when their favorite YouTubers continue not to cover this event, I want them to spam their comment section, and be like, why aren't you covering this? Why aren't you covering that? And put pressure on them to make them start covering it and start promoting it so more people can go to these events, so we can actually get some change. I want to see the maximum amount of people in the streets, because that's what it's going to take to turn things around. In order for that to happen, I need people to demand more. Right? But me doing this video, there's not a huge demand. Who wants to see me, yelling and screaming and talking about, oh, left-wing media sucks? Right? Nobody wants, and then I'm mentioning people's names. So somebody watching this video, I'm calling out somebody that you like. It's not a huge market for this, right? That's why people aren't doing this. That's why people instead are choosing to, breaking, Trump said this. Anyway, on that note, I'm out. Later, guys.